All right, we're back again. Subscribe, like, follow, comment, especially in the comments. Tell me if there's anything that would have made these classes a little bit better for you. Always looking for feedback. So now we're at step 8, the pre-close, measure, and the price. So when you do the pre-close, you're now going to set the condition that the only thing that this comes down to is the money. So again, this goes back to what I was saying with the agenda and these word tracks. There's a couple of different pre-closes that can be done. One might work better for you than another just because, we all learn to say things slightly different. I am not concerned about whether you're doing word for word one particular pre-close. What I'm concerned is, do you have a pre-close that you can spit out just like that when asked to do it, and is it the same one every time? That's the most important thing. So I do mine as 4 pre-qualifying questions to a pre-close. My pre-close goes like this. The first question of the pre-close is the commitment question to the product. Because remember, I just did my product demo. So I'll number the questions as I go through. So John and Mary, now that we've taken a look at the window, the OAKNA window, the Energy Max window, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate that window? And they need to say 9 or 10. Some people don't give 10, so 9's okay. Anything less than that, I'm going back into the product demo. Going back to find out why they didn't give me a 9 or 10. And when they say 9 or 10, I make a joke and go, what, I can't get an 11 or a 12? So if I hear you correctly, and I think I do, the Energy Max window is the window you'd like to have on your home, and Remodel USA is the company you'd like to do the work. Is that correct? So all of my customers tell me at this point, the only thing preventing them from scheduling an installation is affordability. Is that where you're at? So if I can make this completely affordable for you, fit it in your monthly budget, would that make it easy for you to schedule an installation? All yeses, nothing about buying today or now. I don't like to introduce today or now until I've gathered all the information in the close in order to be able to close. If you put pressure on them and you trigger fight or flight, they're going to start lying to you. And so I need to find out about cash and finance and what monthly they're comfortable with and what deposit they're comfortable with and all these questions I want to ask them about a sensitive subject, their money. So I don't want them wanting to run away from me or fight me right before I'm going to be talking about their money. So I'm not putting a today or now or any of that nonsense in my pre-close. Now, there are pre-closes out there that have that. And if that works for you, I'm not saying you have to stop doing it. But if you've always done it, you might want to think about a different process. We can all learn. Maybe even if you're closing really well, you're scaring a few people, and if you softened it, you might get a couple more. You ever think about that? But the most important thing about a pre-close is you say the exact same thing every time, and you have one, and you can give it to me on a moment's notice. When you come up into the second week of training and you're doing role play, I'm going to say, give me your pre-close. Give me your pre-close. And by the end of the week, you better be able to do a pre-close. So John and Mary, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this beautiful shower we put together for you? What, I can't get an 11 or a 12? So if I hear you correctly, and I think I do, this shower is the shower you'd like to have in your home, and Remodel USA is the company you'd like to do the work. Is that correct? So at this point, all of my customers tell me the only thing that would prevent them from scheduling an installation is affordability. Is that where you're at? So if I could make this completely affordable, fit it comfortably in your monthly budget, would that make it easy to schedule an installation? You see how I'm still talking in sound bites? How I'm still putting pauses in so that they can understand this thing they've never heard before? The reason we talk too fast and we don't put these little pauses in is because we think it should be easy to understand because we've said it dozens, if not hundreds of times. They've never heard it. And you need them to understand it. So put the pauses in there so that they can grasp this very important concept that you're asking them. Basically ask them, other than the money, is there anything keeping us from getting started? You know, one of the very simple pre-closes I did for years is go, folks, do you have any questions at all about the product? Fantastic. So this is the window, or this is the kitchen, or this is the bathroom you'd love to have in your home, and you'd love to have Remodel USA do the work. Fantastic. So I guess it just comes down to the money then, doesn't it? Sure does. So let me ask you, if I can make this completely affordable and fit it comfortably into your monthly budget, would that be it? Make it easy to get this project started? Did it for years. Now I call that a pre-close one-on-one because the 4-question pre-close gets a little bit more detail in there. But it's confirming that it's just about the money. All right. So now I've done the pre-close. I'm getting ready to go measure. At this point, what you should do is you should give your customers, your homeowners, permission to go do something else. If you're there on a weeknight and they have children and they both work jobs, trust me, you have disrupted their routine. So look at them and say, all right, I'm going to go measure everything up so I can put the numbers together, and I'm going to work up that exact quote for you. It'll take me 20 or 30 minutes. If you need to go walk the dog or run the cans out to the curb or check on the kids, this is a great time to do it. And I'll just call you when I'm done. You're more than welcome to come with me, and I can tell you exactly what I'm doing. That's fine too, but I know sometimes people have different things that I've kind of disrupted their routine on, and this is a good time to catch up if you want to. And a lot of people will go do exactly that. And you just, when you're ready and you've got the quote put together, you can literally go, okay, I'm ready whenever you are. And they'll drift back to the table and they'll be more relaxed. If they do stay at the table, show them those video testimonials you have. This is the time to show them, and they're so powerful. Here's what's going through your homeowner's mind as they come down a little bit from the excitement for this 20 or 30 minutes that you're putting the price together. They're asking themselves, is this too good to be true? This company sounds really incredible. I really like this person in front of me. They seem to be a real pro. It's a great product. Am I being bamboozled? Is this too good to be true? Am I being tricked? Am I reading this wrong? And those video testimonials that I can airdrop to you in week 2, or that your managers should airdrop to you in week 1, you've got 45 or 50 of them, all different products, and they can literally sit there and listen to people just like themselves talk about how excited they are to get their project started, how happy they are they chose Remodel USA, how happy they are with the products. And they're like, wow, this person saw it the same way I did. Wow, I feel so much more comfortable. This person right here is excited as I am. And it really reassures them that they're not out there all by themselves. They're not reading it wrong, that other people saw it the same way they do, and it reassures them. They're incredibly strong tools. So if the people don't get up to go do anything, by all means, get those videos. Have your phone. I've got a second iPad. I can pull them up on that, and I just literally let them scroll through them while I'm working up the quote. So pre-close, give them permission to go check up on their routine, but if they stay at the table, put those video testimonials in front of them. Now's when I go measure. Folks, I got to run back to the bathroom and take some specific measurements and pictures so I can put this exact quote together for you, okay? And if you want to bring them back to discuss something or refresh their mind about something, you can. Or if they're running around doing stuff, you can go get those finished, getting those measurements. You can go around and measure each window for the costing. You know, I really want you to get away from doing these measurements up here in the inspection, because I think it takes away from our conversation. You know, once you get good in windows, you really can do both. You can inspect the window, then quickly throw a tape on it and get the measurement and just go through the house one time. And sometimes it can be a little invasive going in every room, so you don't want to do it twice. You kind of got to do it case by case. But on bathrooms, I very much break it up. I am doing my inspection with just some basic measurements to tell me how to demo based on where I've got to take it with the product. And then I'm going back to take measurements when it comes to actually pricing. Same way with kitchens. The inspection on kitchens is way too detailed to try and also do the measurements for pricing. I'm going to do it separately here before I put the price together. And then I do just that. I sit down and get my quote together in one click. Once I've got the quote put together in one click, I create my 1 year price, put my line item in, my 1 year price promise. Regardless of any increase in labor or material costs, this price is good for a year, and I add that 11%. So when I go into price presentation, the first number I'm presenting to him is 111% of our pricing. And remember, we're discounting all the way down to 82% and still making great commission dollars, if you remember from orientation. So 111% is what we're going to come out with the 1 year, and we're going to create that by putting a line item in one click. I'll show you how to do that in week 2, and I'm sure your manager will show you when you're doing individual training in week 1 and week 3 with them. But we're going to put that line item in, 1 year price promise, regardless of any increase in labor and material costs, this price is good for a year. And embedded in that line item, they can't see it, but embedded in that line item is an 11% number. That means your bottom number, the number you're presenting to them, is 111% of the cost of the job. And we can discount all the way down to 82% of the cost of the job and still make 8% commission. So, pre-close, give them permission to go catch up with their chores or whatever they need to do. If it's bathrooms or kitchens, you're measuring here. Windows, if you're comfortable, you might have done it on the inspection, because again, it's a little invasive going into every room of the house. I get that. But definitely on kitchens and bathrooms, I'm measuring here. And then I sit down and put my price together. Once I get one click straight, I add the 1 year price promise, which gets me to 111% of price. And then at that point, I am ready to go into price presentation. What I'm going to have in price presentation is I'm going to have one click in the presentation mode. So no itemized pricing is there. It's just the total at the bottom, which is the 111% 1 year number. I'm going to have my price presentation sheet. I'll show you an example of that when we get into the next step. And I'm going to have my talking pad. That's what I need to go into price presentation. The quote prepared on one click as a 1 year number in price presentation mode, my price presentation sheet, and my talking pad for while I go through price presentation and go through the closes. And that is how I do pre-close, measure, and price. And now I'm set up for the next step, which is price presentation.